Yes, folks. It looks like Disney has made the big debut of their new villain show. And man, I always forget what this thing is called. Let me go ahead and put it up on screen right now so I can remind myself. Oh, yes. Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After. Oh, yes. This is the
Unhappily Ever After. Like, you have happily ever after, you can have unhappily ever after. What is that? Is someone going to get offended by the word unhappy?
I
guarantee you a lot of people in your parks right now are unhappy.
maybe that's indicative of many of the people in the parks. They don't want to reference it. But we saw some footage of this earlier, maybe like a week or so ago, right? When this thing was just about to make its illustrious debut, I should say. And I think the Pro channel covered it, and we saw this and we were looking at it and we were going, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a compelling product to compete against Epic Universe. And we'll talk about those comparisons later. But just from the initial footage, it was like, well, okay, so you got some flashy effects and visual effects and projections and screens and all that kind of stuff. Fine. But the actors themselves, which, is kind of what you're going in there for. Otherwise, you could just watch a lot of this stuff on Disney Plus, at least in digital form, that is. It's like there weren't a lot, and some of the performances were questionable, and okay, fine, whatever. I guess people are excited about it. You can see right here. I guess this is the opening day crowds for this villain show at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And you can see it was very well attended. But as you can see, Ron, in the lower part of our screen right here, I'm going to go ahead and raise him up just for this segment right here. I guess it didn't go all that well when we actually saw the final product. Ron, I'm going to go ahead and have you break it all down for us while I play some B-roll in the background provided by Mouse Steps, actually. Go ahead, Ron, the floor is yours.
I live streamed this yesterday to my audience, some of which are probably in the comment section in the chat right now. And I'm telling you, this is not a great show. First of all, interestingly enough, as far as the reservations are concerned, I happen to have a reservation already made for Epcot. I don't know why I had made an Epcot reservation, but that's where it was. So the morning of, I'm like, yesterday I woke up and I'm like, what am I going to do for the show today? And like very last minute decision, decided to go to Hollywood Studios and check out the new shows. My mom had mentioned them to me the night before. I'm like, okay, I'll go cover them. It makes sense, right? I'll go cover this one and the Little Mermaid, both released the day before. So I go to change my reservation and it won't let me change my reservation to Hollywood Studios. I'm like, okay, well, I'll park at Epcot, skyline over. I did that. And the thing was, I wanted to go to the 10 a.m. show. Supposedly this was going to be 10, 11, 12, right? That was the schedule because it's so popular, right? Well, I get there at 10 o'clock and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get to the 10 o'clock show. I'll just go see the 11 o'clock show. I'm going to have to wait in line for a while, but oh, well, I get over to there and get past Rock and Roller Coaster where old Lightning McQueen used to be, which is this theater, and the villain show is there. And I say to a cast member, so this is the lineup for the 11 o'clock show. She goes, oh no, 10:30. And I'm like, oh, because I said that because I thought this was going to be popular. Like you showed that crowd, the opening day was very, very popular. Well, guess what? The next day, not so popular. So I get there and I literally
everybody Disney influencers always just want to be there for the first. They want to be there for the first, right, and they want to be there for the last. Everything in between is nonsense.
Right.
So I go in and the theater's not even completely full on that filling. We all filed in, got to our seats. There's somebody filming like literally right next to me. I sat in the back to do it, and I'm telling you, you can see the stage. You've got all these miniature screens with different villains representations. I can say two good things about the show. Only two. One, air conditioning. Okay, you get out of the heat, you go into the air conditioning. I'm telling you, a great place to sleep if you have some earphones and don't have to watch the show. The other good thing about it is, surprisingly, they actually had Dr. Facilier. They had a small representation of Dr. Facilier in the show. And I was surprised because I'm like, oh, I thought they weren't allowed to use him anymore because he is problematic with the Stories Matters group. Here's what I would have liked to have seen, and what I think could have made this a really good show. 8 to 10 live action Disney villains interacting
Yeah.
with each other. The point of the show was horrible. The point of the show was, which Disney villain is the most misunderstood? And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Is it really?
It would have made
Yes,
sense.
that's it.
I'm telling you, Marvin, that's what's so crazy. It's like, oh, they just, all the songs that they do, Hook and Maleficent and Cruella de Vil, they all do songs about how misunderstood they are, and they're actually really a kind of a good person. I'm like, they're evil, they're villains. I would prefer they lean in to their villainy. They should be, which one of us is the most villainous? But no, it's the most misunderstood. That's why it's called Unfairly Ever After. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. It made me mad. The premise made me mad. And then on top of the premise was the fact that it's just not entertaining. And you could see in my live stream, people weren't applauding at the applause moments. Captain Hook had to ask for applause from the audience. I'm not kidding you. And it's so funny because he comes out, he's like, I'm Captain Hook and this and that and the other and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what? No applause for Captain Hook? Like,
Oh,
you're kidding me. Oh, it was so bad. It was just, it was awful.
so you're looking at this screen right now. Like Ron said, and I've heard this from a lot of people, and I've seen it. You only get 3 actors. That's it. 3 live actors. That's it for the entire show. 3. Now you can see how large the stage right here is. They wanted a large stage with a large capacity, obviously per show, which operationally is good. But performance-wise, you have to fill up that stage, or else it's going to be super empty. The footage that I showed you before of Hades and Jafar, that was screen-based. Those actors weren't actually there in the theater. The only live actors are Maleficent, Cruella, and Captain Hook, which I'm guessing they put everything into their roles, which I would expect from a show like this. But it's only 3, and for a stage this large, they really can't captivate an audience. I think to the degree that they might have wanted, and it's so unfortunate. Go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say the when they had Hades going back and forth with Jafar, I really questioned whether that was acted out or whether that whole thing was done with AI, because we could be seeing the evolution of AI used in theme parks in this particular show. I have no idea. I can't. It's only speculation. But I was looking at it, going, I've seen AI that's better than that, and that could have been done with AI.
Wow. That would be a sad day if they're going down that route. I mean, but oh boy, I mean, to get so many screens, and again, they do this with Snow White, the Evil Queen as well, right? To utilize so many screens in lieu of live actors, I think is a real shame. And again, it's just not the standard, especially when you compare this to something like the new show that you can find over there at Epic Universe, right? With this amazing How to Train Your Dragon live action show, you could see how many actors actually perform in this show. This is the Bang Your version, but I've heard that it's a direct comparison to the Epic Universe version. This is the standard going forward. This is what I think people what they expect from shows, entertainment spectaculars now. You can see a lot of prop work. You can see a lot of physical sets and set pieces, I should say, to bring a show like this to life. And we're seeing this not just at this show, but we're also seeing this at this Le Cirque Arcanus, I believe. Le Cirque Arcanus. This new show at the Harry Potter section of Epic Universe as well. Right. You can see how many live performers are actually on stage right now. You can see a lot of the prop work and a lot of the costumes and a lot of the stuff that actually brings this to life right here. You see some really big puppets, and it's very, very impressive from what I understand. When you have something like the Disney villains, again, and this is a showcase to really see whether or not this concept is going to be viable going forward, especially with Villains Land and everything else, you really had to do a showstopper, especially with Epic Universe across the way. It's just not up to par.
I'm guessing they were going for a Frozen Ever After type of feel, where if you ever go watch Frozen Ever After, they're just basically retelling the story of the movie Frozen, but in a really funny way. Now, it's very different when you have two comedians telling a story that are engaging with the audience. That does not happen here. You have, in my opinion, very poorly written, bad songs. And like I said, the concept of the show where they're trying to each of them want to be rooted for the audience, not for how villainous they are, but how misunderstood they are. And at the end of the show, supposedly the audience is voting by applause at which one of these they want to win that competition.
Yeah, I question that.
It was just funny because like I was listening for the applause and I'm like, I can't tell because it sounded like only 5 people applauded for anybody and nobody very loud. And in my showing, I believe it was Maleficent that supposedly won it, but I don't know if there's 3 different endings. If you guys can tell me if you've seen video of any other ending other than Maleficent, let me know, but I don't really know.
I did look up this point. I can only find Maleficent as part of the ending. So it might just be that way going forward. Marvin, I'm going to go ahead and give you the last word here. Are you at all interested in seeing this show? Do you think this is going to be a compelling offer for guests? We should take in all this and more.
No, this is going to end up exactly the way the Lightning McQueen thing that it's replacing did, in which people are like, wait, people get home from their trip and then someone mentions it 6 months later and they go, wait, that was there? Like, I don't think anyone is actually going to even know that this exists in a few months. Like the Lightning McQueen thing, I never ended up seeing it because I always forgot that it existed.
Same here. Never saw it.
Yeah. I saw the Lightning.
I was just saying it's tucked so far in the back that go ahead, Vash. Sorry.
Well, yeah, to Marvin's point, it is tucked so far in the back. It's literally behind Rock and Roller Coaster, which that's the end of Sunset Boulevard. It takes a while just to even get there. And between Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, you could really miss this for sure. This entire venue, that is. I did see Lightning McQueen before it exited, and it was a cute enough show. You know, they had bench seating, which wasn't that great. I will say they did incorporate some actual themes, seating, stadium seating kind of thing, and good stuff. I will say, but it's just like the Lightning McQueen show. I think this is going to be easily forgotten. And hey, you know what? Now you have a venue with actual seating, as you see right here, in order to put on a plethora of productions, even if this one doesn't work out. But you would have expected something with the villains to really be a draw and really handled appropriately. They just didn't do that this time. And I think I think we should be honest about these things. Now, in all honesty, I will say I'm hearing really great reviews for this show right here, the Little Mermaid show, which Ron, maybe you could speak to this in just a moment. Apparently much better executed. But again, it takes a lot of its inspiration from the show of past prior years.
Yeah, it was almost basically just an update of the prior show. I was pleasantly surprised the puppets are in it. Like the puppeteering, that was such an important part of the last version of the show, and I was really worried that they were going to cut it. Oh, and by the way, this Ursula, that was
way better. Way better.
Awesome Ursula. All of this looked fantastic, and what was funny to me was comparing the two, because I literally went from one to the other, right next to each other, and I'm like, what a difference! And I was really surprised at how masculine Eric came across. So doesn't always happen in a Disney show. I'm just saying, when he came across that, at least the particular actor that I saw on that day, especially because of the casting call. There was some controversy because I believe when the casting call went out for this was the first one that they stated that the actress for Ariel could be a female presenting actress, and then actor for Eric could have been a male presenting actor. And so when I saw the show, I was so worried about what I was going to see, because kids don't need to be confused, right? That's insane. And I thought both of the actress and actor did a fantastic job. They sang well. I think the singing is live. It didn't sound like it was pre-recorded, although I got flagged for it. So maybe it is. I don't know. But it's a much better show. The venue seems much smaller. The only question I have is, Why did it take 6 years to bring this back? Why did that theater sit empty for such a long period of time? And the weird part was the entire animation courtyard was really, really active. Goofy was out, Donald Duck was out. The play, it was night and day different from a few weeks ago when I went to Animation Courtyard and it was just dead space. And so I'm thinking also they need to reopen that shop that's right next to this. There's a closed down shop, and I'm like, you're gonna have to reopen it if it's gonna be that busy, because it was busy. And this show, I think this is gonna go over very, very well. It's gonna be adored by fans of the original Little Mermaid, and it completely ignores the fact that there was ever a remake made. So that's a good thing too. I enjoyed it.
I look at something like this and I think, okay, this is definitely return to the form for Disney. Like you said, though, it shouldn't have taken 6 years. This should have been right back on with the, restoration of everything else post-COVID right there. So a little bit weird in that regard, but,
well, it definitely needed an update. It was an aggressively 90s stage production. So
well, perhaps
the old Ursula was the stuff of nightmares. I mean, it's a good update that probably didn't need to take 6 years to get. But the last thing I'll say on the theatrical productions, though, is you had this theater space right next to where you're putting the Muppet roller coaster. Maybe moving Muppet Vision 3D would have been a nice thing to do, just saying.
Would have been nice, but that makes too much sense, which is why they'll never do it. Missy Buddy, member for 15 months. I miss my villains being villains, the tragic / complex ones I feel are profoundly lacking in character, oddly enough. Yeah, I do miss that because your hero is only as strong as its villain, and you really have to dislike the villain in order to really resonate with the hero, which is a lost art, I suppose, in modern Disney storytelling.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.